This is LifeStyles Live, where we're leading the nation in providing help, hope, and transformation. Please join our host, Sandy Washington, Gina McCullough, Deborah Collins, Jasmine Waring, and our amazing guests for an exciting and inspirational show.
Welcome to LifeStyles Live. I'm Sandy Washington, and I'm here with our co-hosts, Deborah Collins, Jasmine Waring, and Gina McCullough. Sometimes you may wonder why through this process are we doing LifeStyles Live. I've wondered the same thing. But here we are. We're here bringing you a show today that we hope we will be able to broadcast at least once a week, coming into your homes, working with you, hoping that you watch us on the way to and from work, and really getting the word out about what we do here at LifeStyles and the impact it has on our community and the impact our community has on us. So to start off, hi ladies.
Hello. How are you?
This bevy of beauties that we put together here is absolutely wonderful. A part of doing this, and we were thinking about it and saying we wanted to do this, and anybody that knows about LifeStyles knows that everything we do is pretty much faith-led. And so, again, God had a sense of humor and said, let's do this thing. So here we are. But I think about it, and I think about each of you because everybody came together just kind of miraculously, and Gina would say, what have I gotten myself into? Every time. But, it's just interesting to see how people have come together. Tell us a little bit about how you started off, Deborah.
Well, first of all, if Sandy calls, geez, you cannot say no. So I met Sandy years ago, I believe, when you first started LifeStyles when I was younger. And I actually I had a proposal, and the proposal was where we are now. It was about a television show so that we can talk about what's going on in the community. I looked up LifeStyles and what she was doing, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. People should know about this. So I brought a proposal over to Sandy, and I said we should do a TV show. And we actually did a TV show. It was good. And here we are again because she thought, let's do it again. After I aged, of course. We were on the roll when I was younger.
So we brought younger people on.
Yes, so that's why. That's how you got here, Gina. And that's how you got here, Jasmine. So thank you for joining us, Jasmine.
Absolutely.
And how did your journey to LifeStyles become?
I've heard of LifeStyles many years ago. My mother-in-law used to volunteer here, and she would always say, LifeStyles is this great organization in La Plata. Make sure you don't give those close to the Salvation Army. Bring in the LifeStyles. So she would come to my house. This was probably at least 10 years ago, and I would give her big old stacks of clothes. And I never knew a lot more than that, except for she loved it. She loved Sandy, and she loved volunteering here. And so fast forward maybe 5 years later, my husband and I started to get more involved in the community, and I started to come to more events and realizing that, my life is very busy. Day to day, I spend probably an hour and a half each way traveling to work. And so I realized that there was a lot more going on here in Charles County than I was aware of. And I can imagine that a lot of people with commutes like that have a similar situation. Mm-hmm. But as I started to realize the work that LifeStyles did as far as helping people who are in need and the fact that they look just like me and you, I said, you know what? Yes, I'm extremely busy, but this is becoming more and more real, and I need to figure out sometime, I don't know when, to get more involved, because I fully recognize that sometimes situations happen, not because of our own doing, but sometimes just misfortune. And I said, you know what, if I can get up a little early some days to pitch in, if I can help however I can, even if it's shows like this to get the word out, then that's what I want to do. And so that's how I'm here.
Once you say yes to Sandy, you can't say no.
You can't say no.
So
She has
Gina.
a way about herself.
So here's
Well,
Gina.
Jasmine likes to get up a little earlier to help out. I like to stay up a little later. So I got involved with the Safe Nights program through our church. They hosted the Safe Nights. And it was very important to me to get involved with something with the community. And plus I had a small child. So I wanted her to be a part of what we were doing and learn more about her role in what she could do in the community. So that went a few years, and then Sandy came to me and asked me a question, and I said, okay, I think so. And she approached me about doing a dinner for the volunteers to recognize all of the work, because without the volunteers, this organization would not be able to run. So she wanted to do a dinner to help out and celebrate, which I said okay. And it started out maybe 50 people. And then she said, will you do it again next year? And I said, okay, I can try it again next year. We are 10 years into the dinner now, 10 years, 200 people, and it's going well. And just to celebrate our volunteers so they continue to have a role in our Safe Nights programs.
Yeah. Well, I thank you, ladies. So just wait for your phone call, folks. We're really calling you. Today, this is our first show, and we've had little slip-ups here and there trying to get together, but here we are. But we have some fantastic folks. Our whole theme and our vision for our organization is help, hope, and transformation. And so everything you see in these productions are going to deal with help, hope, and transformation. And not just from us, but from those partners and folks in our community. And so today, we're going to hear a little bit about, access to food. We're going to meet some unbelievable young people with our kids and causes. And then we're going to hear about homelessness and services that are out there and successes that have happened in our community. So, ready? Let's get started.
Let's go.
Yeah. So our first guest is going to be Angela Barnes. So Angela Barnes. And Angela, do you want to come on out? Yeah. Yes. So, Angela, and I know you've got so much going on, but just to give some background, Angela is an Indian Head native, right? And has a passion for food in her hometown.
Yes.
And all across the country, access to food is truly an issue. And certainly, if anybody knows about Charles County and Indian Head, they know that food access is truly something there. So tell us a little bit about the Indian Head Co-op.
Yes, thank you again for inviting us to join today. So as you mentioned, anyone who knows anything about Charles County and specifically Indian Head and Western Charles, it's been 20 years since we've had a grocery store.
Wow.
And actually 21 years exactly as of last month. And the Safeway in Bryan's Road recently closed down last year. It's where I grew up, and I remember fondly the A&P and then the Super Fresh and all the other businesses there. So my father still lives there. I actually moved away a little bit after college, but I started my family there, and I still go and visit with my father. And just seeing that there's this building that's used to have groceries, doesn't exist still today. This idea came out of a need of bringing fresh, healthful foods back to the community in a way that hasn't been explored yet. And that's what the cooperative model is. It's a community-owned business, so it's really going to take many hands and many people to bring together our collective resources, time, and energy. We're all volunteers. None of us are going to be independent business owners in this endeavor. So that's what we're trying to do. It started last year, met with the town Mayor Pullen there, and got a thumbs of approval. Yes, we can support you.
Nice.
Let us know how we can help. So this past last year has been really about learning and doing our research and finding out how we can start a business that we have no idea how to do.
So what other examples have you seen out there in food co-ops? I know they're all over the country.
Yeah.
There are a number of them. In the Washington metropolitan area,
Yeah,
any
so
successful ones?
yes, so there's one really successful one that's going on in Fredericksburg, just over the bridge. And they have been cooperating and organizing for 5 years, and they finally have identified a site and are beginning their opening this year. They're up to about 1,300 members. A lot of it is just grassroots, getting out to the community, raising awareness, and getting people on board and volunteering with the efforts. And we have also reached out to a nonprofit organization that helps supports cooperative businesses get up and running. There's a lot of free resources. They're available online. We've met and talked with them, and they've given us a lot of advice and helpful direction. We've also reached out to a small group that's working to form their cooperative in Ward 8 of Southeast DC called Community Grocery.
Yeah.
They're still organizing. It's a little trickier in areas where there are no access to food. They seem to succeed more in the areas where there's already food. So we're exploring some other opportunities that we might be able to get this up and running in this community.
And I know we're wrapping up, but I just wanted to ask, how can people get involved in something like this? Because I know you started, but taking it back a little bit, how can people get involved and just let the community know what this really is and how they can get it started as well? You can probably start in different places.
Support you.
Absolutely. We're looking for hands. We're looking for
So let
volunteers.
them know right there.
So we, if you're online, we have a Facebook group page. It's Indian Head Food Co-op. You can find us on there and follow along with our activities. We are hosting impromptu coffee chats at the Clarity Coffee House in Indian Heads, where you can come and join us anytime and learn about the co-op and how you can get involved, or you can email us at indianheadfoodcoop@gmail.com, and we will be happy to work with you and find a place for you to help. But yeah, it's volunteers, legal help, accounting, getting the business structure set up.
Do you have a site identified?
We are looking at a couple of the vacant buildings that
there are a
are
lot
in
of those
Indian
there.
Head. The Algonquin building is available, and then of course the Bill Phillips building where the Superfresh used to be. We're trying to find a way to get into some of these buildings.
We commend you. You know, basic needs, food.
Yeah.
You know, healthy food. Everyone should have access to. We're in America. Come on.
Yes.
You know. So, Angela, thank you for what you're doing, and we hope to have you come back. Thank you for your patience with us today.
No, anytime.
Okay. And
Sandy calls.
That's the theme. That's the theme.
I hear
Sandy calls.
Happy. I'm just
thank you. So
grateful
much.
to be here. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
give her a hand. All right.
Okay. Our next guest today is Kure Young, Assistant Director here at LifeStyles. And many of you know a lot about LifeStyles, but for those who don't, I want to just take some time to recognize you as the Assistant Director of LifeStyles, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are outside of LifeStyles?
Oh, wow. Do I have time outside of lifestyle? So, sure.
Should I answer?
So I'm Kure Young. I have been born and raised in Charles County. I've been here all of my life. I actually graduated from Lackey High School years ago. Went away to school to really be an attorney, and ended up being completely refocused on nonprofit work. So I actually have my master's in nonprofit management, and have really had a passion for helping nonprofits and helping them to excel. And ended up coming to LifeStyles for 1 week to temp, to fill in for a receptionist, and then ended up staying here. It's been like a black hole ever since 14 years later.
Wow, 14 years later, and I can imagine being the assistant director here is a bit of a switch from wanting to be an attorney. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience, that supposedly 1 week experience, and what happened to make that switch as it relates to you?
So I really had a passion for wanting to come back to Southern Maryland to utilize my talents and my education to really help the community here. Being here for a week, I was at the front desk, so I was exposed to everything that was coming through the door. And I realized that the staff that was there, Miss Washington, Sony Jones, they were very passionate about serving the community. And so I certainly was invigorated by that and really wanted to tag into that. And so I appreciated the opportunity to be able to stay. Mm-hmm. And as I tell all of the staff who have worked at LifeStyles, I have pretty much worked in every role, from cleaning the restrooms to driving seniors to, again, front desk to writing grants to helping the homeless. And so it really has helped me to grow personally, helped me to be a better communicator with those that are in need, to be more empathetic to people, because I'm a very black and white girl, so it has to be this way or else it doesn't work. And so it has helped me to understand that everything is not black and white. There are some grays, and we have to learn to adjust to serve the people that we are supposed to serve.
Wow. Wow, I'm sure that they can appreciate that, because there's people who came in and maybe it wasn't so cut and dry. Maybe it wasn't so cut and dry for them. So what is it, what are you seeing here as it relates to lifestyles that you can think of that may be a broader issue across the country, and how are the efforts at Lifestyles helping?
So much of our efforts focus on the homeless population and people who are at risk of becoming homeless. And one thing that I appreciate about Lifestyles is that we really try to provide the services in a one-stop shop of resources.
Okay.
So it is not singularly focused on just providing housing. We believe it's not just about putting somebody in a home, but what are the resources and supports that they need to really be able to sustain in that housing. Otherwise, they will just continue with us from year to year. And so our agency looks at those needs. We are flexible in being able to accommodate the needs of our the people that we serve. We are client-centered, so we believe let the client navigate us through what they need, so then that way they can hopefully be sustainable. And so I think we are unique in being able to provide that opportunity. You don't see that in other communities. I think people want a Lifestyles in every county, and if we could grow to that, I'm sure there would be opportunities for that, but that really is something that makes us unique. And it really allows us to really serve the total person.
Yeah, I think that really speaks to that line of help, hope, and transformation, because help is one thing, but then when you're able to give them hope by giving them the tools and resources necessary to be able to move into a different place, that leads to that transformation. So it's really cool that you're doing that.
And one thing we've started to do over the last few years is really focus on the education piece, because we could help with persons financially day in and day out, but if they don't have the tools to be able to manage their money, or how to operate a banking account, how to take the funds that they get and be able to use it and spread it thin, if they don't have the job skills that they need, otherwise they will just be a continuous cycle. And so we realize that we need to grow our education side of Lifestyles as we're developing other programs.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I can imagine that there's plenty of people who could benefit from it that haven't been willing to take that step yet.
Right.
You all see that a lot, where there's people who are kind of reluctant to come in?
We do. I think it's interesting. Very rarely do we advertise our services. So Ms. Washington has always said, we don't have this huge sign across our door that says, Lifestyles, come on in, but the people who need us find us. And so a lot of what we do is word of mouth. And so if people have a good experience here, they will share that information with others that are in need. So that's how our services have grown over the years. And we have such an inviting atmosphere. So from the colors on the wall to the engaging staff, all of that plays a role in people feeling comfortable to come and get services, because they know we're here to serve them. They are not a number, they are people.
Okay, good.
And you have someone here with you today that we had the privilege of, and I do say it's a privilege to serve folks. And Ms. Thomas is here today. Okay.
Yeah, so Ms. Thomas is here.
Ms. Thomas, you want to come on up? Okay. And as Ms. Thomas is coming up, let's see what's going to work best for her. Over there? No.
So, Ms. Thomas, welcome to the show. And if you can just tell us about your journey, and I heard a little bit about your story, but I couldn't wait to meet you so that you can tell us about this amazing journey that you had with Lifestyles. We all have a story here for Lifestyles, trust me. So we wanted to hear your story.
Yes, well, first of all, I'm 21 and holding.
Yes.
When I came to Lifestyles, my first experience was to get a wheelchair for my mom. And what happened, I lived in Charles County for 20 years. I lost my husband, whom was deacon at Our Lady Help Christians Catholic Church, and 6 months later I lost my mom. So I was taking care of both of them and my son, whom has mental retardation. So the first thing I had to do, unfortunately, I lost my home, but my first placement was my son, so I got him placed. And then it came to me. I remembered LifeStyles, and then I met the counselor who came over, and she took me back to LifeStyles. And when I went to LifeStyles, I felt the warmth and everything, and I had a need. I stayed with a few friends at first, and then their lights were cut off and all, so I said, well, then I slept in my car at Wawa's, and the staff there were very protective of me, because they would look out the window and there I would be in the car. And then we have good people in the community who came from church, and one couple stopped and said, are you going to be here? Will you please stay with here until we get back? So I stayed, and when they came back, they gave me $500 and told me to find a room to stay in. At that time, I was going to and from Wawa's to LifeStyles, and I would have showers here, and then I met a counselor here,
Is that
Miss Austin.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And so I knew then, after I spoke with her for a bit, that basically I love this place. Okay, I wish to volunteer in the future. So the first shelter I stayed in, I enjoyed it. Miss Austin was there, and only thing, the cots were low. So I slept, I had to go out and out. They fortunately let me, I was fortunate to have a sofa there. Now here I am at LifeStyles, and yes, I was educated, born and raised in Washington, D.C., college education, master's degree, all of that. Living in 7 acres of land, lost everything, but you know what? It was my ministry. God told me that now it's time that you get out there and help others. So then LifeStyle kept working with me, and I was doing what I had to do. And then there was another counselor here, and so I knew that I had to get up and do what was needed. The LifeStyles could not take me by the hand as a baby and go foot by foot. And that's what homeless people don't understand, that you have to get out and help yourself as well. This is what it is. And when you go to a shelter, that's what it is. You do not take charge of the shelter there. You know, you do what's needed to be there done. Then you could come and get your shower, you get your breakfast, you get your lunch, you go back, get your dinner. What else? You know? And some people get adapted to it, but it was such a learning experience for me, because one lady was talking to herself. There's a lot of mental illness now. Even down to myself from time to time. I guess y'all can tell that. Okay,
Got a little bit of something going on.
and she talked to herself for like an hour, and I thought she was really talking to someone on the phone. She had these questions, and then she would act as though she answered the questions, and it was just amazing to me. So I have learned a lot, because I sat behind a desk for 32 years and asked people to do this, that, and the other, and had not experienced it. So now, at being 75 and holding her bed, so I plan to get a new venture. First of all, I need to become computer savvy. So, and then I want to work in the community. Now my food stamps have been cut to $30, so now I find out all the pantries around in the area, and like the first Monday you go get your meats up the road, and then you find different places to go during the week, because unfortunately I can't live off of $30 a month eating and all. So it's a good thing.
Yes.
It's a good thing for the people here. And I just hope that I'll be able to come back to LifeStyles or any of the organizations and volunteer.
Right.
Oh yes, definitely
You're
help.
already here. You said it in front of Miss Washington.
Okay.
We got you on tape. Right. You're in.
What to do?
And since you're 21 and
I'm
holding,
21
we
and
got
holding.
you. You'll be here for a while.
Okay, that's all I'm talking about.
Ms. Thomas, when you we would love to have you back again
Yes.
because you've shared some insight on shelters and homelessness and breaking the myths that people that are homeless didn't have the education or had some other things, and you overcame all of that, and now
Yes.
you're in housing. She's in
Yes,
housing.
yes, and I'm referring people.
And no, Miss Tucker.
I've referred 3 people from the shelter.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
You're gonna need to other stuff. We have to wrap it up. So thank you so much for joining us. Please come back again. We enjoyed your story.
Well, it's so nice to have people like Ms. Thomas here so that we can see real life stories of real life people here that are being helped by LifeStyles and also want to give back to the community. And with that, we thank you, Kure, because you're spearheading that, working with Ms. Washington day in and day out. We know you'll be back, and so thank you for that, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Okay. Okay. Well, ladies, we made it through the first show.
Yes.
Anybody willing to come back?
I'll call you.
You'll call it? No, I'll call you. That's how this works. We thank you for joining us for our first show here for LifeStyles Live, and we know there's going to be so much more. There's so much happening and so much going on at LifeStyles and so much going on in our community, and we want you to be a part of it, and we want to share that with you. As we move forward, we want information from you. We want suggestions. We want ideas. We want spotlights. If there are things that you think that we should be talking about, send it to us. Share it with us.
If
What do you
if anyone wants to be seen and you want us to know that you have a talent, a gift, anything, it's
Right.
life, styles,
That's right.
it's hope, it's transformation,
Yeah.
it's all of it. We're at LifeStyles. You
Right.
can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we
Jess?
want to highlight the good news as well, so definitely share good news with us as well, please.
And remember, help, hope, and transformation begins with you. Don't forget to subscribe.